got this up and running. Just going to make sure that I got this going here. All right, welcome everybody. David Noe with Maize and Brew. It is Sunday evening, getting ready for the Michigan's open practice tonight, but wanted to just jump on and talk a few topics before this week starts up. First off, Maize and Brew has an amazing staff ready to really cover this entire season starting this weekend in South Bend. Huge weekend for the Michigan Wolverines taking on the Notre Dame Fighting Irish. It's been a few years since they've been playing, so a couple other things. We've got our podcast, we've got our Twitter. I've got that up on the screen. I have my Twitter page as well, David R. Noe. So if you aren't following us, or if you are, we certainly appreciate you keeping up with all the latest news and notes. Our free site, want to make sure that you guys get all of the latest on this 2018 season for the Michigan Wolverines. So going to talk a little bit about the news with Tarik Black, some of the biggest changes for this season that goes all the way back to the beginning of the year. Just recapping the fall camp, the position battles, and also just taking some of your questions. So if you have any questions, make sure to leave them on here. And if you're not watching live, make sure to leave them, and I'll try to do my best to respond after it is no longer live. So anyways, so first off, I know a lot of people are really concerned about Tarik Black. Obviously, last year he was out after the Air Force game with the season, with the season-ending foot injury, surgery, all of that. It does sound like there is some issues with his foot, as we have seen today. A few are covering that story, so it might not be season ending. I don't know for sure if it is. Let me try to turn up my volume here. I apologize. My first run through with this new system here. So let me know if it is a little louder. Hopefully you guys can hear me a little bit better. If not, hopefully you can turn up your volume, or I will try to do my best to change this here. So Tarik Black, again, had some kind of injury over this weekend, but it doesn't sound like it's, they haven't come out to say that it is a season ended, or, an injury that would keep him out for the entire season. So that is good news if you look at it from that perspective. He talked last week and said he was feeling 100% and, really, ready for this season after what happened last year, only in a few games. So hopefully we'll hear more within the next couple of days on Tarik Black. So, that position group has certainly some talent with Nico Collins, who had a great camp. I posted on Twitter one of the stories that Isaiah Hull at the Wolverines Wire, a little plug for Isaiah, he did a story about some of the players from the fall camp that really stood out, and Nico Collins was one of those guys. So, you've got to be excited for what Nico Collins might do. Donovan Peoples-Jones is right there. Sophomores coming into the season. So hopefully, they will have a little bit more depth, if Tarik Black can return. It's just a matter of when he can do that. So if they're, if they're looking at this wide receiver group, they've got, a few other guys that are going to be stepping up, which obviously Donovan Peoples-Jones, Tarik Black, Nico Collins was that really, three guys coming into this season that were, really going to be those guys stepping up. But you've got Mustafa Muhammad coming in, Luke Schoonwalker, Nick Eubanks, Sean McCune, Zach Gentry at tight end. So there's a few different players that you're going to see, I would say, that are stepping up, that if Tarik Black is out for a little bit, we will see some guys really stepping up. Obviously, with Shea Patterson already being the starting quarterback, that Jim Harbaugh came out last week and said that he will be the starting quarterback against Notre Dame. So that's going to be exciting. We'll have a few guys in South Bend, including myself. So make sure to tune in. We'll try to do what we can on the ground in South Bend to keep you updated on all the news and notes throughout the weekend. So Shea Patterson wins the quarterback battle. Karan Higdon and Chris Evans looking really solid at running back. Some of the things that I don't know everyone that's watching or has been keeping up is a few things that have happened since January. I just want to cover too, because those are some big changes that over time, over the season, guys develop, guys improve physically, mentally, and they brought in Ben Herbert from Arkansas, the strength and conditioning coach. And if you look at some of the biggest changes for this year, he's got to be one of the biggest improvements overall, without even talking about coaches like Jim McElwain and Ed Warner for the offense. So Ben Herbert came in, and if you look at some of the guys that are posting on Instagram and Twitter, some of their developments since January, I see a theme with about 15 pounds where guys have lost, added weight. So this defense, they were one of the top 5 defenses last year with basically one returning starter. Excuse me. Now they've got 14 returning starters on defense, and they look bigger, faster, stronger. Devin Bush, Rashawn Gary, those guys posted some of those pictures of their development since January. So take a look at those if you haven't. It's amazing how over 6 to 8 months these guys have really, even some of the guys that you might not even think would post something like this. Quinn Nordine in the special teams and punt kicking group posted a picture of the way that he has developed physically since January. So huge improvement just on the strength and conditioning side. And then Abigail, the nutritionist, I don't think those two get enough credit. Well, they will, I think, over time, but those two folks in that group have got to really be called out, because they've done an amazing job since January when they came in. The strength and conditioning, the nutritionist side, and then you look at the offensive line and you look at bringing in Jim McElwain from Florida. So he's working with the offense. Ed Warner from Ohio State was on the national championship coaching staff. So they have become somewhat of a more simpler offensive line. Cesar Ruiz has talked to the media a little bit, and he's basically said that the offensive line might be the strength of the offense. I love the confidence. Shea Patterson played with Cesar Ruiz at IMG. He was his center, and so they have really developed some kind of chemistry that I think everyone has got to be excited about. It all starts with that offensive line. It all starts right there on the offense, because I think if last year's team could win 8 games with the way that offense performed throughout the year, obviously quarterback issues, injuries were not what we thought would happen. But now you've got Shea Patterson with backup Brandon Peters, also Joe Milton and Dylan McCaffrey, who all are, I think, improving as they work together as a group. So that group, you've got to be excited for that group at the quarterback position. The defense, I don't know what else to say other than they're going to be one of the best in the country. Don Brown said it's his fastest defense that he has had ever. I think that is going to be an amazing group. So this first game at Notre Dame, they played in 2014, 38-0. I think that is going to be a huge game for the Wolverines. If they win or lose, it doesn't really impact the way that they look at the Big Ten, because it's a non-conference game. Obviously, it's a huge week 1 opener for the two programs. So Sunday morning, one fan base is going to wake up and probably be a little bit concerned. But if Michigan can go in there and really get the job done on the road against a top 15 team, Notre Dame. That's going to be setting a huge tone, huge momentum shift for the Michigan Wolverines. So obviously, we're going to cover a little bit more throughout the week for Notre Dame. I'll probably jump on at some point before Saturday at the game to talk a little bit more in depth about the Notre Dame game, because some of the position battles, I think, weigh both ways. Michigan, Notre Dame have the advantage. So if you're tuning in, I'll probably be on later this week for another Facebook Live. So again, follow us on Maize and Brew. Follow me on Twitter at David Arnoe. Fall camp has gone really well. If you watch the Big Ten Road Show, they had Devin Bush and Rashawn Gary just talking about this defense, and they've got a little bit more swagger, confidence, game experience. All of that has to play into the way that they're heading into this season, because last year, again, they had one returning starter last year. This year they've got 14. The secondary, the safeties, the corners, they're all coming back for the most part as returning starters. So again, a lot of storylines on both sides of the ball. Coming into Notre Dame, it's going to be a huge weekend. I cannot wait. I can't believe it is almost here. It's game week. So more to come on that as we go through. But just wanted to jump on and play around with this new Facebook Live piece that we have here for all you watching. So again, if you have any questions, throw them down here in the comments section, and I'll try to get to them. I'm just going to read through them a little bit, see what we've got here. Shannon Kaler, I did talk about Tarik already. There is some kind of injury. We just don't know how severe it is or how long he might be out. I don't know if anyone is going to the open practice tonight, but that is coming up. I don't know how much we'll get out of that, but it is kind of exciting that fans are able to kind of see what the team is about. So thanks for the comments. Let's see if there's any questions in here. Let's see here. How are Martin and Collins going to impact the wide receiver core this year? I think they're going to be huge. I mean, some of these guys are 6'5 plus, and when you've got a quarterback like Shea Patterson with so much game experience that he's bringing to the this offense, it's going to be exciting. You saw what this offense tried to do last year with some of the guys at tight end, but Oliver Martin and Nico Collins are two really big weapons for this offense. So again, the offensive line has got to improve and have some great pass protection. But we've seen what Shea Patterson can do with his feet. I think that's the biggest thing that he's looked at is his feet, movement through the pocket, and trying to take 1 or 2 extra seconds and hold the ball and make sure that he's finding the right tight end or wide receiver, or just scrambling away from the pressure. So you're going to see a lot of different offense plays. He's talked a little bit to the media, and he didn't really give away too much, but I think there's a pretty big combination of offense scheme, but offensive line I think is going to be a little bit more simpler than we've seen in the past. So I'm just going to see if there's any other questions before I jump off here and finish up before we get off here. But George Fulgham, thanks for the comment. It will come down to the offensive line. Red zone efficiency last year was such a problem for this offense. So if this offense can improve and just find some rhythm, I think so many of these offenses that Michigan's going to face, they're going to have a hard time getting above 21 points. So I think if Michigan can go to Notre Dame, my early prediction is 28-17 Michigan at Notre Dame with the win. Not too close, but close enough. Maybe a 14-14 kind of halftime score, but then in the second half, Michigan really takes it on and wins. So more to come on that throughout the week. It's going to be an exciting game week coming into Notre Dame this Saturday. So any other comments, leave them on here. But again, we're going to be trying to do more of this Facebook Live and try to interact with some of you guys out there. So appreciate you watching. If you have any questions, leave them in here, and we'll be doing this more. So any other news and notes about Tarik Black or the team through the week, make sure to check out our site, amazingBrew.com, our Facebook, Twitter, and you guys have a great rest of your Sunday, and we will talk to you soon.